Hi, and welcome to Thoughts from a Dizzy Dude. I'm Adam Tilted, and today's Friday. Yay for Friday! November 30th, 2018. A little bit late on my schedule today. Sorry, I'm having one of those days where I drop everything and everything's a little more difficult than it needs to be. Anyway, I hope you're having a great Friday and that you've had a great week. We're still talking about the InSight lander on Mars, and today we're going to be focusing on the instruments that are on board and show you what those are going to do to help us understand the interior of Mars and ultimately help us understand how planets formed, in the early development of the solar system. So let's get to it. The first thing I want to show you is an image that was shared by the NASA InSight Twitter account. It was a GIF. I'm having to kind of fake a GIF on here because I didn't have time to make a GIF, but here we go. So the arm here, the arm is right here. And remember, InSight is going to be taking instruments off and putting them on the ground on Mars. That's never been done before. So keep an eye on this right here, and you can see that it's moving back and forth, stretching its limbs, it said. So they're doing a lot of testing on all of this. They're breaking it into very small pieces, step by step, to test each component because, if something goes wrong, you can't really get there to fix it. So that was fun, and you can follow InSight on Twitter. Just search for InSight Lander. You'll find it. So there are 3 instruments, science instruments, that were sent on this lander. Remember, the goal is to look at the interior structure of Mars. So the first instrument I want to talk about is the... Oh, where did it go? I had a... oh, here we go. The Seismic experiment for interior structure. And this was provided by the French Space Agency. Remember, I talked about this mission being a discovery mission. It's a NASA mission that has a very limited budget, and so they reuse proven technologies and develop partnerships with other agencies to lower the cost. So the Seismic experiment for interior structure is from the French. We also have the heat flow and physical properties package, which is from the German space agencies. And both of these, they also included participation from space agencies and science agencies and engineering from lots of other countries as well. So this really is a multinational effort, which I think is really cool. And then we also have the rotation and interior structure experiment, and this one is from JPL. The heat flow and physical properties package, that's the one that's going to drill in and measure the heat. The rotation and interior structure experiment is going to measure the effect of gravity, the wobble that Mars experiences as it interacts with its moons and with the sun. And that will it measures very precisely all of those movements, which is necessary to help understand the data we get from the other instruments. Great, so I want to show you how these work because I've got some cool animations. All right, so the first thing that has already happened is the deployment of the solar panels. And that they had to wait for the dust to settle, because when this lander made contact, approached the surface of Mars, dust everywhere. Well, you don't want that dust to just fall down on top of the solar panels. So they waited several hours for the dust to clear before opening the solar panels. The solar panels are open, and they are collecting energy from the sun and charging up the batteries. So that's awesome. The next thing that will happen is the test of this arm putting things on the surface of Mars. All right, so I'm going to loop that one. So this is not the actual science equipment that it's using here, because we've never done this before. We want to make sure we're not going to break it. So they're going to do several tests. Of course, before all this, they also have cameras that are examining the terrain around the lander to find out where the best place is, make sure they're not going to set it on top of a sharp rock, things like that. Then, once they've decided that they're all good to go, it's the deployment of the Seismic experiment. It has a dust cover to protect it from the infamous Martian dust, and that will sit on the surface and measure the seismic activity of Mars, which is very different from the seismic activity on Earth. So this is going to probably create more questions than it answers, I suspect. I think we're going to be surprised. We usually are surprised. So that will happen. And then finally, we have the deployment of the heat flow. Where did I put that one? Here we go. The heat flow experiment. And so this will bore down into the Martian soil. And it goes down pretty deep. I can show you let's see. You can see that it is going to be going deep enough into the crust that it can detect the transfer of heat as it moves through the crust. As it, heat rises from the warmer interior up, we're going to be able to measure that with this heat flow experiment. And again, taking something off of the spacecraft and putting it onto and into the surface of Mars. That's not an easy trick. I mean, you're doing this millions of miles away via robot, and it takes 8 minutes for the signal to get there. So, bravo for the engineers and everybody that came together to make this happen. It's pretty amazing. But what is the again? Oh, how do I get out of here? I pushed the wrong button. There we go. All right, I'm back. All right. So again, the mission of the InSight lander is to examine the interior of Mars. But also to really look at finding more information about how did planets form 4 billion years ago at the beginning of the solar system. We have some ideas based on what we know about Earth, but learning about how another planet went through that process is going to teach us a lot, and also, I'm sure, present a whole new set of questions. All right, that's it for Thoughts from a Dizzy Dude this week. Thanks for tuning in. Remember that you can join the show live Mondays through Fridays between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Central. Those times do vary, so turn on notifications. This is also available as a podcast on your favorite podcasting streaming service. If you can't find me, let me know. Search for Adam Tilted, one word. And if you have questions, comments about Mars, about science there, about anything really within reason, drop them in the comments, send me a message, and I look forward to hearing from you. Until I see you again, have a wonderful weekend and a terrific day.